Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, respected elders. First of all, we thank you very much for attending this engagement at very short notice. I have with me the Member of Parliament for this area, Mr. Fizal Jaffarally. We have, of course, the Vice Chairman and Chairman of the region. My apologies, I didn't recognize the Chairman. We have a delegation from the region itself. We have a delegation from the Lands and Surveys Commission, and we have a delegation from the Ministry of Legal Affairs. Now, dating back decades, Guyanese have been living in communities right across this land without formal title being issued to them in relation to the land that they are occupying. So you have a big bungalow, you have a big house on the land, you may have a business on the land, but you don't have neither a certificate of title nor a transport to say that you are the owner of that land. And that is a historical problem that we have had in Guyana. What this exercise is intended to do at the end of the process is to put in every hand a certificate of title for the land upon which your house is standing. Even though you own it, you have a paper to say that you own it, that is the problem. You only own property in this country by two documents, by one of two documents, either a transport or a certificate of title. The people of this community, most likely than not, don't have either. And this process is simply to give you that document. That document allows you immeasurable opportunities in relation to that property. First of all, it makes you the formal legal owner. Secondly, you can make a will and pass that property down to your children. You can go to the bank and you can pledge that paper, and the bank will give you a loan for whatever you may wish to spend the money for. So this is a very important exercise for the betterment of you and your family. And the government is undertaking this task free of cost. Free of cost. It would not cost you any substantial amount, any money for that matter. There is a process, however, that has to be undertaken. And Mr. Shrewsbury explained that process. We have to do a survey of the area. Then we have to measure your internal and external boundaries to determine the parameters of the land that you occupy and you claim ownership for. And we have to put that on a plan. And then a judge of the High Court in Berbice will have to conduct an exercise. You will submit your paperwork, and in the end, the judge will grant an order, and that order will authorize the issuance of the final document, which is called the title. Right now, we are doing it for the village of Corentyne. Like you, the people of Corentyne have been living there all their life, but they have neither transport nor certificate of title for the land that they are living on. Although they are living there and they have big houses, they have gas stations, all sorts of things they have on those lands. But they don't have a piece of paper that the law recognizes as the title, the ownership for that land. We don't want to do Corentyne, and you are right here and we skip you. That is why Country 3 is ongoing now. I spoke with the judge and the process is moving smoothly. We should get the 4 set of titles generated shortly for Country people. But as I said, it is a process. We want to start this process for this village and the adjoining villages. Because if we do them in this way, it is cheaper. Why? The resources are on the ground and it's easy for them to continue drawing the plan once they start in a particular area. So we want to complete all the areas in this locality that are affected before we move to another area. I am also doing this for the people of 46 village on the Corentyne Coast. They also have been living in an entire village and they have no title for the village. And we are bringing regularity to that process. There are dozens of villages on the East Coast that we have completed over the past 20, 30 years during the same process being used. But the agency doing those was the Ministry of Housing, working along with the Lands and Surveys. Now there's a slight shift. The Ministry of Legal Affairs is working with Mr. Jaffarally and the Lands and Surveys people. And this is something that we had promised in our manifesto, that all these untitled areas, we will begin a process to have them titled. Now, importantly, this process will not succeed unless you are prepared to participate and cooperate with it. This process can only benefit you. There is no disadvantage. There is nothing detrimental to your interest. This is simply to give you kagaj, what the old people say you must always have. Don't walk around thinking that you own a property when in law you don't. You can't go to the bank. You can't pledge it to your children and scholarship. You can't go to courts and lodge it as security to take out something. Even if you have an agreement of sale, any lawyer you consult, the lawyer will tell you that the agreement of sale does not confer you with what is called title in law. And unless you have title in law, you do not own the particular property. So I expect that we will cooperate as mature, intelligent people. These gentlemen are public servants. These young ladies and young men are public servants. They are working for the government of Guyana. And when they come to you, they expect and we expect that you will participate. Because this is for your benefit. If you don't, then we will simply have to skip you and move on to the next house and the next family that wishes to participate. I hope I am making myself very clear, and I hope that we don't have, the type of behavior that can scuttle this initiative. We are here to do this for you, as I am explaining, so that you can have title for your land. And once you have title for your land, you can do so much to help yourself and your family. Now I will stop here for the time being and offer you an opportunity to ask me any question in relation to this exercise, and hopefully I will try to answer it. Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Yes.
Good afternoon.
Yes.
We are heartened by the initiative you have put forward. But let me say, there are many things that the Lands and Survey manage on. is unaware of in this community. As you know, as you stated, number 3, 4, and 5 were declared land registration areas. That is back in the 60s, early 70s.
That's what I'm talking about.
You have in a map.
But the process was never completed.
No, it wasn't completed
Right.
because of
You have a
certain
map for it.
issues.
I am happy that I'm speaking with educated audience.
Good.
Makes me feel good. We are here simply to complete that process.
Good. But in trying to complete this process at this point in time might be opening a Pandora's box. Because you start from number 4 is in the center. Number 3 is at the beginning. I believe it would have started from the beginning coming through. Because number 4 is in a gym. And you find there is much overlapping with people on other people's property. Because the place running a gym and whoever is building and measuring is on the square.
All right. Are you finished?
No. Years ago, after that first survey was abandoned, MMA came into being and they said that the responsibility of surveying the lands lies within the purview of the MMA. I can remember when T.A. Earl was the general manager of MMA, and we had a set of surveyors connected to the MMA. We were talking about showing paper for the land. Many people will be unable to show paper for the land because who had paper in their possession, MMA collected those papers from the people saying it was needed for them to do the survey. Office was burnt. When people tried to inquire about their document, they were told it was burnt. Where the young generation will find the paper from now.
All right.
Let me continue. Right? So now that you are going to do, you do an occupational survey. Tia Oral told us about cadastral survey before you can do the occupational survey. That is what Tia or at a meeting at number 5 school. Now you find people come and put house on other people's land, going to the court and getting transport. You have nothing to show that you were in possession or your ancestors were in possession of this land because of enemy. So you see, you start with a problem. Although your intention is good, and we appreciate it, we don't want to end a problem with families and people. Thank you.
All right, thank you. You have raised some very, very important points. But it's either we look at the bottle half full or we look at the bottle half empty. It depends upon your perspective in life. Now listen. All the problems that you have raised, they are legitimate, they are real, but they are not unsurmountable. This task is not going to be an easy one, neither is it impossible. The process started in 1960, and I am happy that you appreciate the process. That is why the process requires the 2 types of surveys. The occupational surveys first, so that we get the present position on the ground. And we regularize the present position. We understand that many people will not be able to produce a document that connects them to the land. Whether it's an agreement of sale, whether it's a deed of gift, whether it's a will, we understand that. And this process is going ahead on that understanding. So we come to this house over here, we inquire who's the head of the house and how long that person has been occupying. And once they are, and there's no competing claim, we register this house in the name of the persons in the house who say they want to go on record as the owner. So when the title comes out, the title comes out in that person's name. In relation to occupational, occupation would have changed from 1960 to now? Yes, obviously. That is why we are doing back a plan. We started this process in 2014 in Cotton Tree, and we resumed it in 2021. And from 2014 to 2021, in a short span of 7 years, there were many, many, many changes. The surveyors had to go back on the ground and do another occupational survey. That is the nature of the exercise. It's either we want to do it because we want the title, or you just live like that. It's as simple as that. We are prepared as a government to help you to bring regularity and formality to your ownership. Forget what MMA did. That was done and they didn't complete it. That will not affect the process. We are starting afresh. And yes, as Dewsbury and I am making the commitment now, yes, we started at 4, but we are not going to complete 4 and don't do the other 2 sides. As you see, where the lands are interconnected. We are going to complete the whole block before the exercise is terminated. But let us start somewhere. Let us start somewhere. So I thank you very much for the concerns that you have raised, but once we work together, we will have, lands and surveys will have copies of TR or cadastral survey, and they will have copies of all the plans that were done. And we are simply resuming the process. All right? So I